working. Oh, dang it. Charger. I'm sorry. Not the most organized, but this is literally what you get. So enjoy it, or I will probably drive you crazy. Okay, let's plug her in. I use two God's work of healing. I cleanse you of all impurities. Bless you to do God's work of healing. This make me feel. Smells very strong. Chemically. So perfumes have the ability to change your perception and give you good thoughts or bad thoughts because they have chemicals in them. I don't know if I should put it on my temples because I never know what's going to happen. I'm using you to do God's work. I cleanse you of all impurities and bless you to do God's work in the name of Jesus Christ, our Lord and Savior, and through all things are made possible. I'm a temple for God's work. Okay, let's get this going. Okay, this is good. I have video. Warrior training. I'm going to stand for you. I guess I go here. Okay. Now I'll also grab this. Let me get this back. There we go. Okay, and this one. Darn it, this one's almost dead. Record live, and now we're live. Thank you for waiting. Okay, just have to get the charger and I will start. Thank you for your patience. So I do warrior training. So I teach survival skills for women and children and men, I guess, too. What the heck? Get in there. Okay, go live. Whew, that was hard work. Now we're going. Everything is going great. So first I'll take this out, this chargers. I need extra things. Oh, and this one too. Okay. Put some chapstick on so I can get ready to do so much talking. Got lots of talking to do. Me, my, mo, moo, me, my, mo, moo. That's what they do when they practice for singing. I'd like to take a moment to remind you to watch your posture all of the time. Because if we start slouching, eventually when we stand with good posture, the way that we're supposed to, it's going to hurt. It's going to pull the muscles that we've been shrinking because we haven't been extending them. And then this one's all loose and not strength. So when we are constantly using our proper posture and bending all directions all the time, then it makes our body more flexible, kind of like an octopus. We have the ability to move through fences and jump over things. But if we have limited mobility and we can't raise our arms up because we're always like this, we're always playing video games, then eventually we can't. It hurts to put our shoulders back. It hurts to sit our spine erect. It hurts for us to lift our head up, and it's a neck and shoulder problem. So it's very important to have good posture and correct it all of the time. So whatever you're doing is impacting everything you do going forward. People do not realize how important our habits are. They're defining what is going to happen for us in the future. Do we want life to be easy for us, or do we want to have a hard life? Because the less that we know, the harder our life is going to be. The more people are going to use us and abuse us. The more skills we have, the more valuable we are to everyone around us, so they respect us more. The more that we know, the more that we're respected, but that also brings great power, which also brings great enemies, because there's people in power of all of the humans. The more knowledgeable you are, the more people respect and honor you. So that means that the people, instead of directing their energy and at someone else, they're directing the energy at you because they think you're amazing. And so the people, if you're not there, there's going to be other people that get your energy. Well, when you come into your power, you're going to be taking people and changing their minds because they're already going to be adults. We're always directing our energy at somebody. And so people that are not good will try to be famous so that they can take advantage of others and monetize off of them. And so if you're doing work of healing, then yes, everybody should be supporting you. However, there's people that are just greedy, and they're not giving back to the community. Oops, see my posture? So we have to make a conscious effort to be making our posture better all of the time. Because our destiny is going to be full of pain and suffering. The more that we are all shriveled up, the more harder it is for us to breathe because it's compressing our rib cage, which houses our lungs. So we have less asthma when our shoulders are out and back and our chest is out. It opens our chest cavity, thus giving our lungs more room. And healthier people stand with their chest out because they're spiritually strong, mentally and physically. And when your physical body is alive, It's expanded outwards. And the more sicker you are, the more you're like this. So we have a habit of walking around like that because we've given up. We think that this is all we're destined to be having, and that's not true. It's not humanity's destiny to be in pain and suffering. This is a sickness. We're destined to live a happy, peaceful life. Heaven on earth, peace on earth. That's not a imaginary thing, but the people that are trying to cause all the pain and suffering that have given us this infection that we're in, they want us to believe that this is our destiny and it will never change. People that say, oh, it's never going to change, they're working for the opposite team. They're telling you loud and clear, I'm telling you, things are staying the same. They're staying the same because they don't want it to change. They want the pain and suffering to continue because they are benefiting off of it somehow, which wants me to bring up another information. Boundaries. People that are abusive know when you do not have boundaries because mine were always broken. If I said no, they took it anyways. So if I screamed and said no, they took it anyways. So my no meant nothing. So you end up giving up and not fighting because you know it's just going to be less conflict if you just let them have their way. And so this is what happens when you're enslaved. And then if you had an animal that you brought into the home from the wild and you beat them and withhold food and manipulate them, because that's what withholding food is. Withholding means to survive is forcing them to cooperate with you when they normally would not want anything to do with you. That's enslavement, that's narcissistic abuse, that is enslavement of humans, enslavement of species. So humans are literally abusing other humans and enslaving them by taking away their abilities to support themselves. So then we have to be reliant on them or reliant on the system that they created, which is enslavement. It's called enslavement. Ooh. So it's my head's beginning to look a lot like Christmas, which I, by the way, am not celebrating because I realize now that I was living with the people that made it up, and it's all about commercialism, nothing about the true meaning of what Christmas should be about, Jesus Christ and giving and kindness. But no, it's about consumerism. And when I say giving, I don't mean things, I mean giving of ourselves, the good parts of ourselves, giving them and exchanging them. It's an exchange at Christmas time when you gift something and they gift you something back in exchange, because if you don't, it's taking advantage. What you give, you shall receive. So you give and then you will get it back. So we're pure source energy. We come from Creator. Creator is like, you know what? I'm going to double me. Now there's two. Bam. That's us. We're just a tiny version of the bigger one. Tiny version of the bigger one. This one's a bigger one. And so we are just minding our own business, doing our thing. And then all of a sudden, this guy comes, the infected one. Doo-doo-doo. And he wants us infected. So he takes some of his infection and he slings it at us. And it sticks to us or it falls off. See? So when you have someone that's an infection, they will try to say things and do things and get their infection on you. And if you don't have someone teaching you that what they said is wrong and that they're being mean, then it stays on you. And then another person comes and they put another piece of clay on you. So these words that people say are very painful. It's round up on the spirit. Words cast spells. That's why they're called spelling. Everything was brought into existence by the word, the spoken word. So that tells you how powerful our words are. So for people to say sticks and stones may break my bones, but names will never hurt me is an action to minimize, it's been used to minimize the effects of words upon others. It should be just as punishable by law. Well, natural law, it is. Absolutely. It's actually more dangerous. Words destroy worse than physical harm does. And its effects are much longer. Our physical body will heal on its own naturally. Well, so will the mind, but it will never be the same, just like with a physical injury, but also, I forgot what I was going to say. Darn it. So I gathered you here today to talk about stealing motherhood. I wrote a book on it. It's very good, and it's a workbook that you can work through, and it talks about how men get in between the relationship between mother and child or children, the tactics that they use, why they use it, what a mother is, and what our purpose is with our relationship with our children. And it's really enlightening. It also tells you how to communicate with your children so that you don't make things worse. And it's a very valuable tool to have because it'll help you navigate. I did not realize when I wrote it that there are so many women enduring the same thing. And as each woman speaks out, it makes the fire inside me ignite even more. It's like they're breaking the silence and putting it to me to tell me the truth about what someone did to them as well. And it makes me burn brighter. It's like another person has connected there to me. And because they're a light, they're just a light. They're waiting to do something. They're withholding all of their pain and suffering inside them, and it's eating them alive, and they need a relief. And the relief is reaching out, connecting to me, and sharing the truth about what they've experienced. And it's powerful. My voice is now a home base for women throughout the world that have been maliciously separated from her own self, her children, because they are ourselves. Just like we are a piece of creator put in human form, we are a piece of our mother, just separate. We're a piece of the clay, just like this. Same composition, just a smaller piece. Well, in some cases, my son's 6'3". So what I'm getting at is that when you have an ocean and you have an oyster in that ocean and a piece of sand makes its way into that oyster allowed it in, just one piece of sand, and enveloped it and turned it into something beautiful. And so that's what the human is developed by. A spirit volunteers to come into human form, and the human form comes when the mother decides to take that seed and make something beautiful out of it, if they choose to. But this is the thing. A lot of these people are putting their seed into us unwillingly. And that's very traumatic and destroys the life force energy of the woman because it takes away their freedom. But the beautiful thing is when we get blessed with a conception of a baby, that has nothing to do with the person that injected themselves into us. We're the oyster. We choose if we are going to make a sand into a beautiful pearl. We choose that. And even if someone puts a sand in us against our will, we still choose whether or not we're going to make that piece of sand into a pearl. And when that pearl is made, we don't go and thank the sand because they did nothing. They intruded into something that's not them. That's a separate being. Here's us. We're separate from men. We're separate. We're two different things. So when they inject themselves into us, they're leaving something in us. They are leaving something in us. So then they go away. This is still us. They just changed us. Just because they changed us doesn't mean they have right over us. And if we duplicate ourselves, just because this one injected himself into us willingly or unwillingly, that's still our duplicate. It's one piece of us until we separate ourselves from ourselves, because it grows inside of us and we're one. And it's still one because we're connected with the same blood and flesh of ourself, the umbilical cord, for the duration of our union in the physical world. But then we expel a piece of ourself. And then when we choose, we break apart the physical connection. But no, men got in there. Men got in there where they did not belong and started cutting us open. I had 4 C-sections. And so the father of my kids, not my color, told me that I was not allowed to try naturally. He had completely enslaved me and ruined my relationships with anybody. I was segregated and assimilated. So he preyed upon me and used me for slave labor and and to beat my children and meant to destroy me. Absolutely, because friends don't do what he's did. And so this is what inspired me to write my book, my amazing book, Stealing Motherhood, about the effects of men and why they do what they do. So if you're interested, you can send me a DM asking about my workbook. It's $20. This one I'm selling because the other ones are free. And yeah, this supports my mission. So if you want to support me, then that would be nice. And if you want some free resources, then you can get them in my website. And also, if you want to wait, you can wait, and that book will be free as well. The only reason I'm selling it now is because I'm going to have it for supporting my cause, and then I'm going to have little 1 weeks where the book will be offered for free as a gift from me, and or maybe 24 hours. I don't know. I don't know, or maybe a month. Who knows? Because my goal is not to hoard knowledge, but I have to be able to get something from everybody, because you guys are all a whole. So I'm doing all this work and I am not getting anything in return. I got $20. Actually, I got $20 from somebody that I do not know. They sent me in PayPal. So thank you for that. But I've been doing this for years and I've been giving all of this information and no one is supporting me. So I have no choice but to charge for one of my books. But I don't know. I'm hoping that something else happens. I don't know. But I'm hoping that happens so that I can just keep all of my resources free, because I don't like to have to even ask for money. But what are you supposed to do? I should not have to ask, but obviously, I don't know what's going on. But God's in control, and so I'm just, and I'm doing markets too, so maybe something's going to happen there. But my goal is to be making money doing warrior training workshops with children and teaching them. And actually, it'd be great. That'd be actually a great idea. Having warrior training where the children come with their adults and their parent or whatever. So the parent learns better communication skills or, wow, so many options. So many options. So I'm going to be traveling. This is the thing. I keep being told divinely that whatever I focus on is what my reality is going to be. Okay. And so I know I have to do what fulfills me, and I have to follow my life purpose, which is to do God's work. So that means I've got to get the message out. I can get my message out remotely. I can absolutely get my message out remotely. I'm excited to be going to travel around with my son. He came home for one night, 24 hours pretty much. Last time it was, so every time it's like riding a bike. You don't get mad at someone when you want them to learn how to ride a bike and they fall down. Even if they stop and go have a break and then come back. So this is what it's like with addictions. You're trying to get them on the bike and staying on the bike of sobriety. So my son came back for 24 hours again. Woo woo! Out of the cave, out of the cave, out of the cave of math. Are we allowed to say that? Mathematics. So that's great. So I'm really excited. I want any of you that are suffering with those that have addictions, or you yourself has it. I understand. I understand. And the people that are giving you trouble for not succeeding, they're not understanding. They have a big ego because they believe that they know what you're going through. They believe that they understand and they have no clue. So this is where we become more humble, because we can see how they're not that bright and they are too arrogant to even listen to us trying to explain because they know everything. And so it's frustrating. This is what causes the people like us to be depressed and lonely and frustrated and further into our addictions, because we can't communicate and they don't try to understand us and they don't try to listen so they can understand us, because true love is understanding someone. Because when you understand someone, you can best love them properly to lift them out of all the pain and suffering. And addiction is something that if you understand it, you can help them get out of it. But you don't understand it if you don't know the person that is in the addiction, in and out, the things that made them be in addictions, because those things are the things that are going to help them get out when you help them by respecting them and working with the things that they've endured, because the things that they've endured now makes the way they interact with everybody different than everybody else. Their needs are different. They get triggered, they get scared, they get anxiety, they get angry. So, and then what happens is we get abused, and then if we're using or whatever, it amplifies us getting triggered and stuff, because we are super sensitive. We know when we are wanted and where we are wanted. We can feel when someone wants us around because people have treated us so badly. So we know. And then they lie to us and try to gaslight us. And you're like, what the heck? So the more that you are abused, the lower you are on the ladder of the hierarchy of pain and suffering. We're on the bottom. The bottom are people of color, disabled, elder, all that stuff. So the lower you are, the more pain and suffering you endure, and the bigger the chance you're going to be humble, because the further down you are, the more that you realize how people treat you. And they think that we're idiots. Just because we're down there, they believe that we're not smart because we're down there. But if they actually use their brain, they would see that the reason we're down there is because the system is putting us down there. Other people have maliciously put us down there, or natural things have got us down there. But there's multiple reasons, but they don't care about those reasons because they're arrogant and entitled. That's why they don't care about us. They don't want to hear about our pain and suffering. So that's what happens when you're unconscious. So there's unconscious when you're ignoring people's needs, and then there's malicious when you're deliberately causing people pain and suffering. So the other ones might be deliberately causing pain and suffering, but they haven't matured enough and they've been turned against somebody. So a lot of people don't realize that they realize that they're being mean, but they feel like they're justified because they've been taught to treat people badly and feel justified in doing so, which is very harmful, because that's when you get people that tell lies and get you to go treat people badly. And so it doesn't do anyone any good except for the person that's trying to cause the pain and suffering by sharing lies. So he's destroying relationships. He's turning people against each other, or she. So this is what a narcissist does. They try to triangulate other people by turning them against each other, saying lies about them so that that person treats them differently. And the more unhealthy they are, the more anger that they have inside them, the more likely they're going to direct that at the person that they feel justified in treating differently. So we have to be very, very careful about mistreating others because of what other people have told us, because sometimes it's misunderstanding, sometimes it's not true, then other times all of it is true. So I'll be the first to admit that there, of course, all genders, all demographics have people that are misbehaving. Absolutely. And so we need to go and find all the little groups so that we can get that group to take care of it. So if I'm a principal and you guys are all teachers, and then I find out there's some fighting going on, I got to find out what division and then what grade and then what class. So those are descriptions making it easier to identify the people or that are involved. And so I know that it's not going to be the whole school, even though it's happening in my school. I know that it's not all divisions, even though I have 3 divisions. I know that it's not all of grade 11, even though I have many classes. So it's obvious that not all are going to be. Sometimes it will be, though. Sometimes it will be completely corrupt. But in the most cases, we're going to get it resolved before it gets out of hand. This is getting out of hand. This is a problem. This is an infection. People are harming other people and themselves. But we're concerned about other people first. We have to take care of the innocent before we take care of someone that's harming themselves. We have to separate one from the rest. And then we focus on the root of the problem, which is the person doing the harming. That's how we do it. So society has made a thing where we focus on the Band-Aids, No, focus. If everyone stops trying to fix the Band-Aids, the injured, how about we all turn around and focus on the abuser and tell them to dethrone themselves because we don't want them in charge anymore. That's how you do it. You know, I've been through so much crap and I finally had enough. And so I talk publicly about all my abusers and their families and how they ganged up on me and everything, and I'm not going to go away. I have every right to talk about all of the people that were mean and tell everybody the mean things that they did. I have the right to defend myself, but because I was enslaved into their color, by their governing demographic that is still in control of my whole land today, my motherland. This isn't their motherland. This is my motherland. And they have come here and separated me from my family, ethnicity, took my identifying information, and is still withholding it from me at the age of 53. And so I had this done at birth and maliciously put in another color where all the perverts were like, oh, this one's all by themselves. And of course, they're going to use and abuse me. So this is what your people, your governing system, and people are upset because I'm saying white people and because I'm calling, and they're like, not all of us. I don't care. Just like if I was the principal, I'd be saying Division 3. I don't really, and they'd say, I'm not all of us. I don't care. Go back to your division and look after yourself. And the difference between a school and the ethnicities is that you're God-given this ethnicity meant to stick together and make everyone healthy. And if they get sick, then you don't stick together to make healthy. You stick together to hold your own and make them go back to you. They're going the wrong way. Why are you allowing yourself to be poisoned and allowing everyone to be harmed by your group? You are there for a reason, to use your voice to make great change. You're there to not be a wimp and a coward while everyone in your demographic starts going crazy. If you're not the same, then that means you're a leader. If you're not the same, that means that you're the healthy one. If you're the healthy one, then why the heck aren't you helping everybody vocally and with your life to get healthier in your demographic? Because if we were a company and there was an explosion and you and I were the healthy ones and everyone else was injured, it's up to me and you. Same with an earthquake, same with anything. The healthy people are obligated to get the sick back to health. So all the white people that are saying we're not like that, then fix them. If you're not fixing them actively and stopping them from harming everybody, vocally and making a big parade and actually doing it, then you're them. Because if you're on our side, then that means that you're not a coward. You're using your voice and you're standing up against them. Because if you're with us, that means you're against the colonizers and the colonization. So you should be actively fighting against it and vocally fighting against it and letting everyone see your photo, because everyone needs to see who you are in order for you to prove that you are working for us. Because of course, this is a gaslighting technique. Everyone just expects us, it's at face value to accept that they are not against us and they're not colonizers. They expect us to just go, okay, you can stay. That's the whole pretendian thing, is it not? A whole bunch of people that are not native trying to pretend native. They're jumping ship. You can't come over here and not suffer the consequences of your actions. So you say, oh, well, I didn't do it. You are a clone of the people that did. And you are living in the effects of what they did. So if you're not like them, then you can go back home. And if you broke into my home and you're not going to live here peacefully, you most certainly have to leave. But you shouldn't be able to stay anyways. You can't legally. So why can, on a grand scale, other people just come here? And the only reason these white people are upset about immigrants is because they don't want to lose what they stole. They feel that they're losing power because what they stole is now getting taken from others. Because whoever is in control has more power. And so here are the First Nations that were eliminated, destroyed, given alcohol, all these things, so that we stay in fear. And I'm so proud of all of the people, the Indigenous, the First Nations, Métis, all of the people that are standing up and speaking out about the injustices. I am so proud of you. We're breaking the cycles of abuse, and this is necessary. This is important. This is the Great Awakening. This is where we are no longer afraid, because that's why I was over on the enemy side. So I didn't know what was going on. But then you all were abused, and so the stories got passed down, and you have to live with the survivors of all of these abuses. And so you know firsthand how it F's you up, your mind, your physical body, your spirit, and how it destroys families. You are all aware of it. Meanwhile, I'm over in colonizer land trying to survive like a caged dog, like a dog that's stuck in a home with all these people that take turns abusing me, and I have no escape. So eventually I find a little hole. Nope, not allowed to cry under the bed. No, I'm not allowed to cry in the closet. Nope, not allowed to even cry outside. I got pulled inside and told to stop crying outside. So I wasn't allowed. I was told to quit feeling sorry for myself. Looking back, they're a-holes. They are a-holes. But it made me stronger. It's like having a stallion being broken. It tries to not give in, but eventually it's starving and it's mentally abused and it's muzzled and beaten, whipped. So it's living in fear. It doesn't know who's going to turn on them and when. They're segregated completely from their own kind. A horse, that's when you break them. So humans are no different. And so I was living encaged with families that would pretty much bring me around wherever because I couldn't escape. They would ask me to marry them. I'd say no. Wouldn't let me leave. But now this is karma. Karma, because now I escaped. I got my birth certificate. There is a God. Thank you. Hallelujah. There is a God, creator of all, blessed me with the revealing of my birth certificate. And so now I got a voice, and now I'm using it. I'm using it to speak out about all of the injustices. And I also want to say that I think I'm pretty much Métis. I think my mother was Métis, but I'm not sure. I have to go back and look at my birth certificate again. Brings me trauma. So if that's the case, then it's amazing because that makes me a little bit white too. So then it actually shows that I still am siding with it's not just a war. That shows that I'm not against all whites because I'm white myself and my children are half white. And so that shows you that it isn't about color. Others are making it about color. So I'm letting everyone know because they told me it was about color. Like when Stony Valley got me to go over there and they assaulted me and threatened me at their work, Stony Valley Contracting in Fort McMurray, Alberta, Canada, with Janet and Wayne. So they did that. And I was told racial slurs, and that's why they were assaulting me. And that it wasn't the first time they've done that. And so I only name the demographic because it's important. When the government of Canada placed me where I was because of my color to erase the heritage and culture, this makes it a color thing. And it's ongoing because I'm still alive and I'm still suffering the consequences of racially motivated, yeah, Canada's a jerk. Racially motivated attacks. It was malicious, premeditated, because it's obvious when you put a brown person all by themselves in a group of white people, all the predator white people are going to go and use them and abuse them. And so now I'm a great. I'm powerful. I'm powerful. I'm an Indigenous, powerful woman. I am matriarchy. I am a worker for Creator. I am powerful. I am a woman. I am a mother. A mother's job never ends. They invented the word smothering. They added a S to it because they're snakes, but they added the S to mothering to make what we do, being a mother, sound like it's something bad. So narcissistic abusers tell our children that we're being controlling. And it isn't controlling. This is what a mother does. It's guiding. It never ends. It never ends because a good mother guides their children all the time. The mother knows best. The mother's correct with Creator. That's how you got here. And you think that your mother doesn't know? She literally has a direct connection with Creator and created you. And so you're going to take advice from and listen to people that are not your mother about your mother. Tell them you're going to let other people tell you to not talk to your mother and not try to understand your mother. If your mother mistreated you, she's mentally unwell. But you need to understand that there are other people in the world that are doing things to make mental illness happen to women on purpose, because women don't get mentally ill for no reason. It comes for something, and pretty much 100% is caused by man. Men psychologically and physically abusing women, financially, mentally, you name it. Almost 100% of mental illness is caused by that. And so when these men do it, there is no legal action, no legal recourse, because men created this system to intervene between the consequences of abuse, of abusers, because that's what it is. Before police stations, it was, if you hit me, I'm going to knock you out. And if I'm not going to, my family's gonna. But no, invaders came here, destroyed anyone that didn't allow them to take control, and eliminated us or rounded us up and used violence to make us in fear. So we're submissive and allowing them to do whatever. So our inability, because they destroyed us unfairly with sicknesses and weapons and schools and division, all of these things that they did were meant to make us powerless so that they can maintain control for as long as possible. So this is what has been done, and I'm over it. I'm over it. That's it. I'm done. I'm not having this anymore, because this is the thing. I got my birth certificate and I was like, first I was like, I don't want to be. I cried so much. I didn't want to be, because I thought, because I've been indoctrinated into racist thoughts about my own ethnicity. So when I got my birth certificate, I was like, no. And then finally you accept it. And then when I accepted it, it was weird, because everyone's still, I'm still strangers, but strengthening slowly. But it's very hard for me because I've never had anybody that actually cared about me. And they'll say, oh, Joanne, what did they ever ask me how I felt? Ever ask me about the racism? Anything? Never. Not once. Nobody. So they don't care about me. So they can take their whatever idea they didn't. Because that is what a human needs. That's a human need. So there was no love there, whatever. And so did they, oh, I won't even get there. So I forget where I was going. Darn it. What was I saying? Well, F the patriarchy. That's a good thing. That's a good place to start. So I'm excited because something happened the other day. There was a friend here that came here and she did something that was manipulative, is the word. Manipulative, not malicious, manipulative, which could be filed under malicious. But manipulative in that she was trying to make me feel guilty about something that is the average for everybody. So because of something, they got favored for a bit. And because I now wanted to end the favor, they were trying to guilt me on more than once, relentlessly, not letting me get a word in to explain why, how it's making me go out of my way, and how it was just a temporary thing. And everyone else has been doing the other thing. So, like, why are you? It's not even. And so they were arguing and making up the most ridiculous excuses. And I sat there with good posture and observed instead of being upset. At first, I was upset because I was watching them argue with me further and not be able to have a conversation about how I was being mistreated. And they were not letting me say a sentence without cutting me off. And every time, and then and asking the same question as soon as I'd talk, she'd interrupt me again. And so I would let them stop talk completely until they were done without interruption. And then I'd say, can I talk now? As soon as they start, they do it again, cut me off. And so this went on, and I observed, and it was powerful because I know that I'm right. And no one deserves to be disrespected. And there's even more to this. And this is the thing. I love everybody. I think of them as children, people that need to learn. But when you don't admit the things that you've done and apologize, like, it is, especially when you're caught, and then they argue about it. And so I'm so grateful that I raised my children with integrity, because I witnessed so much of a lack of it around me growing up. So I made sure that my children had very strong integrity. So I went to the police station to report my son being told by his coach, who was a police officer, to sneak in the window and not tell me what he was being caught for. And so I went to the police station to report it. because that was teaching my son to go against me. And that is a breach in the relationship between a mother and child. And so that shows you how strong I was for that moment. So I did have bursts of standing up for myself, but I was constantly beaten down and forced to do things with and about my children that I didn't agree with. Endless occasions. I would say no, and they would argue and try to convince, and the convincing never worked, but eventually they would just take it anyways. So what happens is you just give up, you lose your will. And this is emotional abuse. And these people know that. These people know that harping on you relentlessly is every day. It's, if it's not one, it's another. Everybody wants a piece of it. Everyone wants this. Everyone wants that. And then these men teach your children to disrespect the mother. They tell them, don't listen to your mom. She's controlling. She's manipulative. She's crazy. So these narcissistic abusers will do things, tell you that that one of the children did it, so that you go and discipline the children, and then they will tell the children that you're crazy and mean and all of this. Meanwhile, you're being mentally abused. The manipulator won't let you escape the relationship, won't let you leave, is cheating on you and is disgusting, and won't let you leave, and won't let you sleep in another room, won't let you sleep in another bed. Disgusting. And these abusers will do things like tell you that your children don't care about you, and then manipulate things like buy things, get your children to wrap it and then put their names on it, so it looks like they've done something really nice and kind for the other one, and you smile, and then they come to you and say, what did you get? And you say nothing, which, because it doesn't bother you, but then they say, oh, that's because they like me, or they love me because more than they love you. They love me more, I guess they love me more than they love you. So these sort of things are meant to destroy your spirit and sever the relationship between mother and child. Another thing narcissistic abusers do is they go and make affidavits, sworn affidavits stating that your older children are trying to remove your younger child from your custody. So when you have no family and you only have 4 children and everyone's treating you badly in this demographic, and then you have the father of your kids that are abusing you, beating your children, abusing your children, mentally abusing your children from birth, and won't let you escape, literally will not let you escape, and is beating your children and everything, then what do you predict is going to happen? The children are going to be messed up. So how do you destroy a family? How do you destroy a mother? If she has 4 children, you're going to destroy the mother by destroying a child. And when you destroy a child, that destroys the mother. So you're going to do that. So he's attacking me. He's attacking my 3rd child. Then how are you going to destroy the other 3? You're going to turn them against each other. You can't abuse them all because it's going to be too obvious. So you're going to abuse the 2, then get the other 3 gaslit into believing all of the lies that they're saying, that the problems are with the mother and the son, even though they've been abused. So they're going to manipulate them and triangulate them and tell them that their mother is crazy and this is, what they deserve, that we're just a waste of skin and that we're dumbasses. But now look, you can be a really big bully to somebody. Hey, it takes a really big man to pick on somebody that has no family, that's been completely assimilated and segregated from the government. Real big man. That's like a person that would prey upon a handicapped person, because they don't stand a chance with someone that's healthy. So they go prey upon that. That's a loser. A loser would go prey upon a handicapped person that's mentally, deficient, taken advantage. And that's exactly what they do when someone is segregated and assimilated. That's it's like right there. No effort. You just a piece right there for you to do whatever. That's what they're doing. They're the loser that goes and preys on the very innocent that has no chance. That's what these predators, narcissistic abusers do. They're losers. And so I cannot wait to face these abusers that abused me. I am so excited because the verbal is, thank you, yeah, facts. The verbal effect we have when we share the truth out loud, especially in other people, is immense. It has the ability to destroy. They tried to destroy me. They tried to destroy me. I am now taking it because it's still here. I'm waiting. It's in there. I'm waiting to take it and throw it back at them. All of the things that they said and did. And I can't wait till I get the names of those losers that assaulted me and enslaved me at Stony Valley Contracting in the trailer. Losers. Of course, they have to stick together and bring me to a remote location and hold the door of the two of them because they can't do it themselves. And now that it's just us, I'm waiting. I am waiting for the moment because I know Critter's in charge. And he lifted me out of the pain and suffering for a reason. And I know that there's going to be an opportunity to face these losers. And I cannot wait. Every day I get stronger. Every day I get more powerful. And so these people that have abused me, they all have aged now, and their prime is over, and I'm no longer enclosed into their little world of whiteness. I'm no longer in there enslaved. And so this is the last thing that they wanted. They all did what they could to try to destroy me. My life was hard enough, and they all made a little bit heavier for me, threw their own rock onto me to make my life that much heavier. And so now the tables have turned, and they were malicious in doing it because they knew that they weren't making my life easier. They knew that they weren't being neutral and just leaving me alone. They went out of their way to make sure that I had more pain and suffering because of their existence. And I didn't pick them. They all went to me. They selected me. They could have been like, if we aren't going to be nice, we don't want anything to do with her. No, they didn't say that. They said, you know what? I'm in. And they used and abused. So karma is great, and I cannot wait. And I'll be sharing all about it because everyone deserves to know the truth. Everyone deserves to see karma in action. And yeah, I'm aware I'm extremely, extremely brave and courageous. Extremely. Because I'm more powerful, and they had to have me at extreme disadvantage. They had to have me completely without any family and by myself and beaten and abused and mentally abused so that I was completely submissive. And they just took advantage and used fear tactics and being just degrading and humiliating, not only to myself, but my children. And so every mother dog deserves the right to attack anyone that harms or takes their offspring. Do they not? Is a mother bear not entitled to destroy anyone that comes in between her and her children? Is a mother dog not entitled to destroy anybody that comes in between her and her children? So why does it seem so strange for a woman to be preparing to destroy anyone that has gotten in between her and her children? See, this is the thing. I'm being nice. As I gather strength, I'm giving them the opportunity, and I said it in a few videos, mend the relationship between my children and I, and this is going to be less painful. That's a promise. Because I'm a mama bear, and you have come in between myself and my children. Multiple times you've slapped your name on my children and altered the future of him due to his name. So I don't agree with it, and I'm not going to let it go because you've permanently altered my clone, my creation, not yours. You injected your piece of sand against my will, and I made this sun. You had nothing to do with it. You assaulted me, and I created this sun with the grossness of the you inserted into me, I made it into something beautiful. And you have the audacity to slap your name on my child against my will, trying to convince me, and I still say no. And you stand there all together as a family, lying to me to try to convince me. I still say no. And you pressure me to do it anyways. And so I had no choice, because that's what happens. You knew. If you didn't, if you say you had a choice, if you think, if your response to me saying that you forced me to is that I had a choice, then that's false. You just, because you didn't accept the no the first time. So you just admitted that I have a choice. The first thing I said was no. You forced me. So there you go. That shows you. And you guys were relentless, lying about the things. All of you, you're a sick family. Lush. It's disgusting. And they deserve to know. I know I owe no loyalties to those that have harmed myself or my children, who have violated me and stood by those that have violated me and abused me. I don't owe any loyalty to any of them, even if they impregnated me against my will. I don't owe loyalty to them. The only reason I was silent is because it looked like I was silent. I wasn't silent. They all turned against me. I brought this up and nothing, I went to the police, nothing happened. So I wasn't silent. And the only reason I'm being louder about it now is because I'm ready to take my power back. And it's not just coming in one day. This is an ongoing thing. I've had to endure all of the abuse ongoing for my life, because they put poison in me and it's in me and I couldn't get it out, and no one gave me a chance. So no one had mercy on me. You all went out of your way to harm me. So this is inspiring to all of those that have been abused. I encourage you to find your power, because this is how you get your power back. Find your voice. Your voice is what's going to get your power back. The silence empowers them. The silence is what seals the deal of them taking your power and abusing you and humiliating you and degrading you. And you have to sit there and take it. Your silence doesn't mean you're not smart. Your silence doesn't mean you accept it, but your silence means that you haven't reclaimed your power and you still have the ability to. Your silence means that there's still an option. You have the ability to change the course of your reality by speaking out the truth. And it's going to be empowering, because it's going to give you the most biggest energy rush, because it's an adrenaline rush. You're breaking out the blockage in your throat chakra, and it's going to release energy, and it's going to feel powerful. It's the most healing thing you can do with trauma, is speaking out the truth. So, what questions you have? Anyways, you can see I get really riled up when I think about these haters, and this is it. Because at first I was like, gotta be nice, because I thought that if you get cleansed by God, you have to be nice. But I learned real fast, just like Arjuna talking with Krishna, is that we have to be able to hold our own and defend what we have, as well as defend the space of the victims or the vulnerable. We have to be able to take back what people steal from us. Our freedom, our children, we have to be able to strike back. Otherwise, we will be eliminated and everyone will use us and abuse us. Because there's always going to be predators as long as we're infected. And those predators are looking for the most vulnerable to use and abuse, but not just the most vulnerable. Anyone that is not paying attention, that is naive, anyone that is weaker, these people that are preyed upon, they're the people that are bottom feeders are looking for anyone that's distracted to take advantage of them. So my purpose is to let everybody know the tactics that abusers are using and have been using since their arrival at colonization. Because narcissistic abuse is colonizer introduction. It was introduced with colonization, and the narcissistic abuse tactics were what was used to divide tribes throughout all of Turtle Island. We all were one. And anyone that says that they're First Nations or whatever and says that they're intertribal fighting are either lying and they're not native, or they're working for demons and are native. Probably imbibing alcohol and drugs, because it's untrue. And we know where we came from. We lived according to the sacred teachings, and many of us still do, of unity, and we were all friends. We had no reason to not trust anybody until colonization, because we all respected each other. We did not fight. So people that say that are lying. That's just another of the narcissistic abuse tactics, because then that's their way of justifying and silencing us. Because then some people, if they believe it, go, oh, okay, then I guess that's it. We're conquered. That's what they want us to think. Conquered is just a word they made up, trying to seal the deal, like silencing us is using the word conquered. So then we're like, oh, I guess we're conquered. I guess we can't do anything until we unite. And since no one is, I guess it's over and done with. No. And anyone also that says don't say anything unless you got a solution, that's also someone working for the enemy. Because before a solution's found, you have to talk about it. Because if everyone knew the solution, then we would be solved. There would be no pain and suffering. But we're in a great big pain and suffering because we need to be talking, because we all hold a piece to the solution. And when we work together and talk about it, then it will evolve. We put all the pieces, and that's the solution, because it's not a one-person job. We all have to work together. So when we start working together for a plan, that's when we find the solution. So anyone that says, oh, quit talking about pointing out all the bad stuff unless you have a solution. No, that's not it. We need to hear about all the bad stuff so then we can perfect ourselves. This is what constructive criticism is pointing out all the negative things so that we can perfect ourselves. We need to thank people when they point out our inconsistencies, when they point out the things that we need to correct, our bad habits. We need to be humble and thank them, because they're pointing it out so we can be even better. We don't want to have these qualities. We want to be the best version of ourselves. We want to rise to the top and be working for a creator. And we can't be doing that if we're lying, we're cheating, we're stealing, we're, hurrying and rushing through things and cutting corners. And I'm trying to not do that anymore. But think smarter, not harder. Anyways, it's 11 almost. No, it's 10:17. I talked a lot and I burnt up my chapstick, so I'm going to let you go, but I want to thank you for tuning in and watching my show and listening to me go on and chatter. I appreciate you guys, ladies and gentlemen. I appreciate you. And thank you for watching. And I hope I'll see you tomorrow. And yeah, if you have any suggestions on how to run my show, please let me know. And because I need constructive criticism, because I want to be best at what it is that I'm doing, which is being a leader for everybody and bringing them back to healing and reclaiming our land and our dignity and our sovereignty. Because I've had enough. And if you've had enough, then keep tuning in, because it's united we stand, and we're going to take our power back together. I love you. Oh my goodness, I have so many recordings going on.